We're here because free speech is under attack. We're here because people are being convinced that socialism works. We're here because people are being judged guilty until proven innocent. We are fighting back with facts. This is not a safe zone, so buckle up, Buttercup. This is the raw, naked truth.
Biden doubles down on the lies about threats to democracy. Interest rates rise again, and more. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin, and here's the news you need to know. With no success on the issues that Americans really care about to campaign on, President Biden warned again on Wednesday that American democracy is under threat as former President Donald Trump's, quote, big lie, unquote, about election fraud fuels voter intimidation and election deniers ahead of next week's midterm elections. In our bones, we know democracy is at risk, Biden said in a primetime address. Biden's speech amounted to a closing argument for Democrats ahead of the midterms, with Republicans expected to take control of the House and the Senate. Although the Senate does remain a toss-up, it is leaning Republican. House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy of California stated before the speech that Biden is dividing the nation instead of uniting it. The Washington Post gave claims of voter suppression for Pinocchios when Biden first made it, but that has not stopped the Democrats from spreading the lie. And while the Democrats have criticized Trump supporters for their concerns about the 2020 election, they have been silent on Hillary Clinton's continued claims that the 2016 election was stolen from her and Stacey Abrams' constant claims of fraudulent elections. The Federal Reserve on Wednesday announced its fourth straight 0.75% interest rate hike as it continues to try to cool down the economy and bring down the highest inflation in decades. The Fed said at the close of its two-day meeting of the Federal Open Market Committee that it was raising its benchmark short-term interest rate target to between 3.75% and 4%, the highest since January 2008. The string of unusually large hikes amount to the central bank's most aggressive moves since the 1980s. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell said after the meeting, the Fed would have to be more restrictive to contain stubborn high inflation, and that narrows the path to a soft landing. The Fed is fighting an uphill battle as the Biden administration keeps restrictions on energy production and tries to further increase government spending, both of which are fueling inflation. North Korea continued an unprecedented series of missile tests with the suspected launch of its most powerful intercontinental ballistic missile. But South Korea's military said the ICBM failed in mid-flight. Pyongyang also launched two short-range missiles. The tests prompted Japan to issue a rare emergency alert early Thursday, although the ICBM disappeared over the Sea of Japan before it could cross the Japanese archipelago, according to Japan's defense minister. The latest tests came after North Korea launched 23 missiles on Wednesday, the most it has fired in a single day. The latest tests, which South Korea called deplorable, increased tensions as the United States and South Korea staged their largest ever joint air drills, which Pyongyang has condemned as aggressive and provocative. The Allied Pilots Association said Wednesday that its board rejected a contract offer by American Airlines in a 15-5 vote. American proposed a new contract with a 19% raise in 3 steps over 2 years. Union spokesman Dennis Tager said American was failing to invest in a pilot contract that levels up to meet passenger demand, creating more uncertainty for the holiday travel season. Pilots' leverage has increased due to a shortage of personnel and rising travel demand following the lifting of coronavirus restrictions. American, which has about 15,000 pilots, did not immediately comment. United Airlines pilots recently rejected a 14.5% raises over 18 months. Delta pilots have voted to authorize a strike if negotiations fail. The pilots' potential strike joins a potential strike from rail employees that could hamper travel and shipping during the holiday season. Benjamin Netanyahu moved closer to victory in Israel's election, which would make a major comeback for the country's longest-serving premier after more than a year out of power. With over 93% of votes counted by Thursday morning, Netanyahu's Likud party maintained its lead with 32 seats, and his religious and national bloc was on course to win 65 in the 120-seat parliament, or Knesset, according to Israeli national broadcasters. After lengthy and heated oral arguments, Supreme Court experts say the justices are likely to bar the use of affirmative action in college admissions. This proved to be a full-contact oral argument for both the advocates and the justices, said George Washington University law professor and Fox News contributor Jonathan Turley. The challengers clearly had a better day before the court. The court heard two similar cases on the use of race in college admissions at Harvard University and the University of North Carolina in a nearly 5-hour session. An activist group called Students for Fair Admissions brought both cases and seemed to have more justices on its side. The cases both revolve around the fact that the policies by the two colleges, in an effort to promote affirmative action, focused more on African Americans and Hispanic students, and in turn discriminated against Asians. That's the Raw Naked Truth. You can catch every episode of the Raw Naked Truth at xvadio.com/podcasts, the Apple Podcasts app, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Amazon Music, Audible, and any platform that respects freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.